where we essentially provided our opinionated guidance on how to approach designs for large screens for a lot of different app categories. So whether if you have an app which is in the productivity category or creativity or social or even like a media player app, there are a lot of designs out there that your UX designers can use to essentially get some inspiration. And essentially the designs extend very nicely onto foldables, tablets, and Chromebooks for that matter. If you make use of Material Design, which is Google's design platform, Material Design now provides a lot of opinionated guidance around large screens as well. And it's not just guidance, but essentially Material Design is now providing a bunch of adaptive components out of the box as well, along with guidance around how to support some hero interactions like drag and drop as well for your applications. So it's a great source for your designers to essentially get some additional guidance as well. Now for developers, we published this large screens app quality page on developer.android.com. This has been there for the last 2 years. But the idea is it's a great place to get started around learning what's large screen optimization and what it means for your app. So I would highly encourage all of you to take a look on this URL and essentially check out the 3 tiers of large screen optimization that we have provided. And essentially what these 3 tiers allow you to do is approach large screen optimization in 3 phases. So you don't have to do all of the work at once, but rather in 3 different steps. So essentially it just makes it easier for developers and even your product managers as well to prioritize this type of work. And essentially, if your app is built in native Android, regardless of whatever your app architecture is, there's a path to large screen optimization and to build adaptive layouts. So if let's say your app is multiple activities and essentially re-architecting your app is not a priority at the moment for any reason, we recently announced activity embedding in Stable that allows you to show multiple activities side by side to create that 2-pane layout experience. If you have kind of migrated to modern Android development and essentially are using fragments now, sliding pane layout is a great way for you to essentially create those 2-pane layouts. And if you are right at the cutting edge, if you're using Compose for your application, we just launched the Material Adaptive Layout APIs in alpha that you can use to build adaptive layouts out of the box. There's also this really great article that's published on developer.android.com around supporting different screen sizes, which essentially handholds you through all the different steps that you can take to optimize your app for large screen devices. Another key aspect in large screen optimization is window size classes. So window size classes essentially is our opinionated guidance around how you should approach adaptive layouts. So it breaks down a lot of different phones and tablets and foldables out there into essentially 3 categories of screen sizes. So we have compact, we have medium, and we have expanded width and height. But essentially, I think in my experience, 90% of the apps can just do with just looking at the width window size classes. What this essentially means is we are taking away all of the burden from app developers like you, so you don't have to worry about defining those custom breakpoints or essentially accounting for all of the different screen sizes out there. We as Google engineers have done that determination for you, so you can essentially use this Jetpack library to essentially just determine what window size class your app is currently running in. At the same time, the Jetpack Window Manager is also super interesting if you're looking to optimize for the foldable form factor as well. So let's say if you want to detect if your app is running in tabletop mode, Jetpack Window Manager is the recommended way to get display metrics, essentially window metrics for your application at that given point as well in time, as well as any, like I said, foldable specific information as well, whether the device is in tabletop mode or not, which allows you to essentially then trigger these optimized layouts. The last part is how to test on large screens, which is, in my opinion, one of the most important parts that you can do to make sure that you're providing a great experience for your users. So again, on developer.android.com, we have actually published a set of test cases that you and your QA team can actually run in-house to essentially make sure that your app runs well on large screen devices. And you can use this as a start to essentially make sure that apps are running great on foldables, tablets, and Chromebooks. They're very easy to follow. The test steps are very simply written. Essentially, you as developers or anyone can just follow them and make sure that your apps run great. In terms of tools that are available to you, Android Studio now supports a bunch of different reference devices. So during your development time, you can actually write code and essentially see how the app looks like across these different form factors out there. So we now have phone, tablet, foldables, and desktop devices as part of reference devices. You can essentially see how your layout kind of spans across all of these. We also announced Resizable Emulator as an experimental emulator in 2022. So essentially what this emulator allows you to do is test your app on phone, tablet, foldable, and soon desktop as well with a single emulator image. So you don't have to load multiple emulator images to test across these devices. It's just a single image that allows you to test across all of these. And then lastly, we also announced earlier this year this ability to test with physical devices actually inside of Android Studio as well. So if let's say you can't purchase a device, you can get the device here in Pakistan, for example, you can make use of this option where the device is sitting in some kind of a test form, and here's the demo, it's running now. So you can see it's very easy to set it up, and essentially now you can test apps on actual physical devices without necessarily having to purchase them. And with that, I think we can move to the next slide. Cool. So I think 3 key takeaways, if you can take away from this talk, is please do not restrict your app or game to portrait orientation only. These types of apps and games really break the experience for users on large screen displays. Second is make sure your app is resizable, because I can almost guarantee your app is going to be resized on these types of devices. And third is please make sure you're testing your app on large screens using the checklist that I mentioned in my talk, as well as using the tools that I just mentioned. That's all. Thank you.